Rachel J, and this is Cultivator Kitchen. Today we are making my best ever vegan kimchi. Kimchi is a Korean dish. It's spicy, fermented, fragrant pickles, and in this recipe we'll be making it with Chinese cabbage, or as it's often called in America, Napa cabbage. If you haven't tried kimchi yet, go to the store and get some vegan kimchi so you can try it. It's so much cheaper and better to make your own at home, but make sure that you like it first. It is very strong smell. I like the smell, but for some people it's just too much to have in their fridge and their kitchen. So try it first, and then if you like it, come make this recipe. And I have spent the better part of a decade refining this recipe. I have always loved kimchi and tried to make it myself and experimented with all the ingredients to get it just right, where it has a really deep flavor filled with umami, and it's so delicious. I have friends that will drive from out of state to have my kimchi and get some and take it back with them, and I have other friends that will barter or trade so they can have some of my kimchi. So I really hope you're gonna love it as much as they do. And this makes a massive portion. I like it that way because this will last for months and months and months, and since it does take 2 to 3 hours to make, I just like to make a big batch and then I'll have it to keep for a long time in the fridge. So if you don't want a huge portion, you can half or quarter this recipe. And today I'm going to be doing my recipe video a little bit differently. Since I want to be really clear for any beginners out there, I'm going to narrate some of the steps and walk you through everything. So while the video is a bit longer, I hope this is really going to help you to know exactly how to make kimchi, and I will be guiding you through each step. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe below and share wherever you can to show your support. I really appreciate it. All right, here's the recipe. So first we are going to get 3 big heads of Chinese cabbage or Napa cabbage. I get 3 medium to large size heads, and I get some coarse sea salt, unrefined natural sea salt. We're going to chop the cabbage into bite-sized pieces. I actually chop it larger than bite-size because it's going to shrink down a bit, but you can cut it to your preference. Then I'm going to separate all the pieces of cabbage and layer them with the sea salt. I don't measure this, I just do a layer of cabbage, then a layer of sea salt, and keep going until I filled up my bowl. And I don't measure because later we are going to wash off all the sea salt. So don't worry too much about the amounts. This is just to help draw the moisture out of the cabbage so that we won't have too liquidy of a kimchi. Now you have 2 big salad-sized bowls of cabbage sprinkled with salt. Go ahead and cover that with some cotton towels and let it rest for 2 hours. This is going to help to pull all that extra water out of the cabbage and soften it as well. After 2 hours, you can see the cabbage has shrunk and it's much softer. You can give it a little massage in the salt. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take all that cabbage and rinse it really thoroughly, squeezing out very gently. You don't wanna have it completely dry, but you wanna get all the excess water off of it when you're done washing it. So I like to wash this, get all the salt off, give it a gentle squeeze, and then set it aside in a colander so it can drain completely. Next, we're gonna add 2 sauces to our cabbage leaves. first is a red sauce. I'm just gonna take everything and throw it in the blender, and then I'm gonna gently toss and mix and massage it onto the cabbage. I like to use my hands. You could also use a wooden spoon. You never wanna use a metal spoon with making kimchi because it will ruin your ferment. I prefer mixing with your hands, but it will make your hands really oniony and garlicky afterwards. So if you don't want to do that, you can use gloves or use the wooden spoon. Next, we're gonna make the white sauce, and this is just a really simple slurry made from water and sticky rice flour or mochi rice flour. It can be called either thing. And so all I do is take a little bit and whisk it till it's completely lump-free, heat it over low heat, stirring constantly until I get a little slurry. It'll kind of have a pudding consistency. You wanna let that cool completely before massaging it into your kimchi. You don't wanna add any super heat at this moment because it will kill all the good bacteria. And now you can add in any veggies that you like. I always like to add chopped daikon radish and scallions. But whatever you like, you can put in this, or you can just leave it all cabbage. Last but not least, we are going to add in our Korean red chili flakes, or gochugaru. And I use mother-in-law's brand. I buy it on Amazon, so I'll link to that in the description box. Any kind will work. You can get it online or you can get it in an Asian market. Just check that the Korean red chili flakes you're using do not have any added ingredients or preservatives. It should just say chili flakes. And that's why I like to use this brand, because I'm sure it's all natural. So just watch out for that. Again, we're gonna massage these chili flakes in well. I use my hands. If your skin is really sensitive to super hot peppers, you'll want to wear gloves or go back to mixing with your wooden spoon. And of course, if you are like me and you use your hands, make sure to wash them super thoroughly afterwards, and don't touch your eye or anything so you don't burn yourself. complete, and I'm gonna put it into a huge jar. Put everything in there, including any of the liquid from your sauces in the bottom of the bowl, and make sure everything fits. You wanna have at least an inch room at the top of your jar. So that's really gonna depend on how much your cabbage has wilted down and how big your cabbage heads were. If you have extra, you can put it in a separate mason jar. I like to use mason jars because if you remove the rubber gasket that would seal the lid on, then it's perfect for kimchi. You want to make sure you remove that rubber gasket so that it's just the glass lid on the glass, so that there's enough coverage that nothing can get in there, but there's enough room for air and gas to escape as the kimchi begins to ferment. That way you're not having to watch this thing for overflowing, and you're not having to burp it every day. You can just sit it on your counter and forget it. So go ahead and fill it up, clean the jar, clean the rim, and close the glass. Make sure you don't have the gasket on there. And you want to leave it on your counter for 3 days. And at the end of 3 days, before you go to bed, put it in your fridge. This is my biggest warning for you, and I know I mentioned this at the beginning, but kimchi has a very strong smell. And especially while it's starting to ferment and it's on your kitchen counter, your entire house is going to smell like onion and garlic and kimchi. I find it pleasant, but it is very strong, so I never do this when I know I'm gonna have people over my house for those 3 days. So you've been warned. Please, test this with your family, make sure they're okay with it, and don't have guests over when you're making kimchi. Here's day 2 of the kimchi. You can see there's a lot more liquid formed, and there are little bubbles coming up. One more day and I'll put it in the fridge. Okay, so I just used a wooden spoon to go ahead and pack it down so the kimchi goes all the way to the bottom in the liquid. And now you can see, if I open this quickly, that there is liquid on top, which is perfect. And you always want to use a wooden spoon and never a metal spoon at this stage. It'll ruin your ferment. It's reactive, so you want to make sure to use a wooden spoon only. All right, I'm going to put this in the fridge since it's the end of day 3. And this will have the best flavor starting 2 weeks from now. So that's when I'll have it, and I'll show you guys the final product in 2 weeks. For the best flavor of this kimchi, leave it in the fridge for 2 weeks before you start to serve it. Obviously, if you can't wait that long, you can taste it in between, see when it's ready for your taste buds, but it will taste the absolute best after you give it an additional 2 weeks to sit and ferment in the fridge. Once your kimchi's in the fridge, it will keep fermenting, but very, very slowly because of the temperature of your fridge. And it will last for 6 months or longer. It will last a really long time. We always eat it well before 6 months, but it will last for months and months in your fridge. So you can enjoy it after 2 weeks, and the flavor will slowly deepen over time, and it will just be delicious. And here is mine at 2 weeks right now. I'll show you the final product. love this recipe and you're gonna really enjoy your fermented, spicy, delicious cabbage pickles. And leave a comment below. Do you like kimchi? And what do you put your kimchi on? What's your favorite dish to use kimchi with? And I'm adding this to a new series, which is all about preserving the season's harvest if you have a garden, or just preserving seasonal foods in general, if you want to use what's in season and preserve it. So look for more videos about that topic coming up this month and next month. I have a bunch of cool stuff to share with you. So stay subscribed and stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.